Hi-yo! 2 in 1 day. Come on. Yeah, I'm doing 2 vlogs in 1 day again. It's just how I roll. Yesterday, on Tuesday, we finally closed on our old house. For those of you keeping track, yes, I had it for an exorbitantly long amount of time. It was a pain in the ass. I'm glad it's over. So yesterday was spent doing all that and finishing up, being done with that chapter. Now everything's good to go. We're here. We're focused. We're ready to get out there and win this thing. Today, I'm going back to work on drum sounds. And let me tell you why. The last 2 songs I've done, the only 2 songs that I've released, Glitch and Upload, I had to do considerable work in the mixing phase to pull out a lot of harsh frequency from the drum kit. Of course, it all depends on which mic you're using, what you're EQing for. You know, your floor tom's gonna have something different than your snare, than your overheads, than your rims, etc. And the reason I've historically left that in there is because it is easier to pull out frequency during mix than it is to add it in. If I put a low pass on my snare drum to 500 and get rid of all of that high-end frequency, that is literally non-existent for the mix engineer to pull anything out of to get any crisp semblance of attack. So he's got to have frequency in there to be able to utilize it. So it's a lot easier to carve out 2.5K than it is to add it back in post. So that's why I've left it in there. However, I'm still leaving a considerable amount of work on the table for any given mix engineer when they mix my drums, and I want to minimize that even further. Also, I want to make things easier on myself, and if I'm being really honest, that's kind of the primary reason. I definitely want to give a better product, and I'm always trying to improve the product I give to clients. However, I want to make my life easier, because why wouldn't I? So that's my goal for today. I have already tracked some drums. And now we're gonna hop in the box. Now that I've figured out how to screencast, go team, we're gonna hop in the box and we are going to carve out some of this frequency and retool some of the drum sounds. I'm going to work on expander, gate, EQ, and compression. And those are the 4 things that I'm really going to dive into today to try to make my stock drum sound even better. So that when it goes to mix, it sounds even better. But as I've said before, and I will continue to say, I'm going to do my best not to over-process. That is, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do as a remote session provider. Do not over-process. You want to leave plenty of room for options on the back end so that your client can do what they want with your files. So I'm not going to go too far, but I am going to make improvements. So with all that being said, let's dive into the session and make some improvements. All right, so we've been working for quite some time on these drum sounds, and fortunately, it is sounding way, way better. So yeah, I've been doing a lot in the box here, and the drum sounds are like way, way better, night and day. So I'm gonna start a little screencast here. I do not have that ready. Fail on my part. And I'm gonna show y'all exactly what I did. We're gonna A/B everything. So we're in Logic, and then, so here's what I've got going on in the session. I've got 2 groups of drums, right? So this group, D track 1 right here, is the old drum group. We'll solo that. This is the old drum sound. Oh, sorry, hang on. I got something on the 2 channel right now. I gotta turn this off. So I'm gonna turn this off 2 channel. So here's the old drum sound, just regular as is. Right, so that's what we're used to. This is what's been coming out for the past couple months now, since I made my last round of updates. I don't remember when that was, but those updates were pretty subtle anyway. So that's the old drum sound. Here's what we're gonna do. So old drum sound. New drum sound. Hear the difference? All right, so check it out. Here's an overview of what's going on. So this is the 2-channel, the main output bus for the session, and this is the old drum sound. You can see what the EQ spectrum. You can see what the EQ spectrum looks like for the old drum sound. Notice in here, right here, there's a lot going on from about 200 up to 2K. You see when we A-B it right there, how everything from about here at 250 up to about 1500 just falls out. Check it out. Watch again. And you hear how this old one sounds like it almost sounds like it's underwater by comparison. You hear that? So this is what I like to do. This is how I stress test it. I throw a really heavy compressor on the... Oh, my computer is like, the fan's going nuts. Throw a really heavy compressor on the 2-channel to really, like... When I do that, it's really going to bring everything out, right? We're going to squeeze the whole track. Everything that's loud comes down. Everything that's quiet comes up. We squeeze the crap out of it. And then we can really hear actually better what's going on. So now that we've got our compressor on there, we got old drum sound. Again, we're going to start with that old drum sound. Watch around 500. This is the main thing. 500 is going to, I've pulled out a lot from 250 to 1.5, 1500. So you see 500? See how much less? And it sounds so much better. And what I did for the most part is, if you look at, so this is my Slate digital virtual mix rack on the old kick drum. And this is it on the new kick drum. Actually, I'm going to leave the old one up, sorry. So all I did was I fooled around a couple different things with what was going on already in here, but then I added in a distressor, and then I added in this FGN British EQ model, whatever, and I changed some stuff on the lift, the CS lift, and then I carved out some EQ here, like at 360, I pulled out 6 dB, and then 3200 I pulled out 6 again on the kick drum, and I did that kind of across the board on everything. So if you like A-B, the kick drum EQs, this is the old right here, and then on the right this is the new, and this is the new track playing. It's not a ton, but you can see in the old one, there's a lot of activity below 50. That's gone, so that mud is away. And then at 200 here, I carved that out, so that mud is gone. And it's all about, like, EQ is, think of it like a comb, like that you comb your hair with, a fine-tooth comb. You want to take those individual blades and pick things. You don't just want to, like, push it all down and with, like, a big rounded out thing. The trick is to notch out certain areas, and then what you have to remember is the big picture, so those notches add up over time. So if I pull out 200 tight in the kick drum, that's going to affect the overall thing at the end. So I pull out a little 200 here, and then I pull out a little like 500 out of the snare drum, and then you go down the line, you start pulling things out of all 12 channels, and then all of that adds up to a big sort of bowl thing at the end that is exactly what we ended up with in the main EQ, which was almost complete from 250 to 1500. We sort of pulled that out. So where the old kick, the old drum sound sounded really like it was underwater, and it was really tinny. The room mics were really off the charts, super loud, and like when I would throw that 2-channel compressor on there, when I make videos, it was really harsh, and we get that. In fact, here's the actual setting I've been using on videos that I've been putting out. really overly crisp, like too hot. And then it feels and sounds like it's kind of underwater. There's just so much mud in that lower mid range. And then we go to the new drum sound. So old, new. It's just more hi-fi. It feels better. And the high end, though still crisp, is not overbearing. It's more well-rounded. So I think, I don't know, I'm happy with the progress I made today. And I think these are going to mix better, quite honestly. And I think that they're going to be more fun to track to for people. And they're going to save me, at the end of the day, a lot of headache in post. And I'm super excited about that. I keep doing this. Why do I keep doing this? This is stupid. It's not stupid. Thumbs up are cool. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.